Alright guys, hey, Chris here with a Walking Dead Who Negan Kills theory. And I know there's a lot of these videos out there right now, but chances are, if you're like me, you're looking for ways to kill time anyway, especially since Season 7 is a long way off. So here we are, a new theory that you may enjoy. So let's get cracking. I just want to say first off that I do love this show. I'm not really into very many TV shows. There have been a few that have caught my attention over the years, a little bit here and there, but this one really hooked me. I think maybe it was the zombies or the feeling or the overall tone, but something about it just grabbed me. So just so you guys know, I'm a bit of a fanboy here. I'm also new to making videos for YouTube. Actually, I'm quite new to YouTube in general, so some feedback would be appreciated. Alright, Season 6. Wow, okay, I love this season. I really enjoyed it. I thought the writing was fantastic, the acting, the directing, just everything. The whole production value was great to me. I thought Season 6 was incredibly well done, all the way up to the infamous cliffhanger that's got everybody biting on their nails. So, the big question is, who the hell did Negan kill? Well, I've got a new theory that I've been mulling over, and it's not a popular theory. Most people think the top 3 contenders to get Negan's bat are Glenn, Abraham, and Daryl. And most people are probably right. The show's writers do like to play it as safe as they can these days. We went from a show where anyone can die at any time to a show where mostly only minor and supporting characters are killed off nowadays. They have toyed with this idea in the recent past, like Glenn and his dumpster, but were too afraid to commit to it fully, so I believe they wrote it where they could basically go in either direction. But here we are now, in Negan's line of fire, and like the man says, someone's gotta pay. Now, in all honesty, yeah, it's probably gonna be Glenn. There have been some really good videos and explanations why, but I'm here to present a more different theory. What if it was none of the people that are safe bets? What if the writers decided to use this opportunity to solve a growing problem? And I mean that literally. What if Carl can't really do any of the cool Negan storylines because he's almost old enough to drink now? It's my opinion that Carl is the best contender to get Lucille because it would solve some issues with continuity. It would solve some issues with the timeline. They would also have a great shock value, and it would be the perfect way to break Rick and break the entire group. So here are some reasons why I think Carl is on the chopping block. Reason 1. We have all heard the actors say various things in interviews about the season's final episode. Things like how reading the script made them feel sick to their stomach, or they couldn't sleep the night before, or how they didn't want to come to work the next morning, or just how shocking the episode was to film. We all heard these comments at one time or another. It seems kinda silly to me that they would say these shocking statements if they didn't really know who was gonna get killed off. So yeah, I think they know who it is. I think they were told. And the reason why they felt this way is because they are losing the young one. Carl, the runt of the litter. The one that they feel they need to protect the most. That feeling of not being able to protect the youngest is heartbreaking. And that could very well cause some of these quotes that we heard the actors say. I mean, let's face it, I'm not going to be all dramatic with those quotes. If it was Aaron dying, or Eugene, or Sasha, or Rosita, those deaths wouldn't be any more impactful than losing Denise a couple of episodes earlier. And nobody said that episode broke everyone's heart to film. I guess you could make an argument that those interview quotes could be said for some of the original Atlanta 5 including Glenn and Daryl, and yeah, they're still obvious top contenders. But either way, if the quotes are true, and not just a bunch of hype they said to lure in more viewers, then it really has to be one of the originals. Now, we know Carol is out because she's not there at the moment, and most likely Rick is out because he has a tendency to carry the entire show on his shoulders. So that pretty much leaves Glenn, Daryl, and Carl. Those are the top 3 so far. But now this leads us to my second point. Reason 2. Misleading character setups. Now, most of us know that when this show pays a little extra attention to a character, it usually means they're gonna get killed off, or at least advance the plot forward in some dramatic way. This is a basic formula that writers use. That's why so many of us had this really bad feeling that something was gonna happen to Denise right before it happened. We didn't know exactly what it was, but we felt it just before that something dark was about to go down. Then it did. It hit that beat that we were expecting. It's because it's a formula that the writers use. Well, in this last episode, I believe they used that formula on purpose several times to throw us off. First, we have Glenn and all of his foreshadowing, holding a baseball bat a couple seasons ago, but more recently, looking at the pictures of all the crushed in heads, spending what looks like could be his final moments with Maggie in the shower while she washes his hair and the song plays in the background with lyrics that kind of foreshadow his possible comic book demise. But he isn't the only one. We also have Abraham. He's been talking a lot about love and family and commitment and making babies. We have seen him grow as a character, cross bridges into this new world, and that puts some of us on the edge of our seat because now he feels like a character that's been built up to take some kind of fall. So some think that he may be the one to take the bat. Plus you have this new Orange Crush theory going around that kind of suits him as well. Then that brings us to Eugene. His setup has been laid on real thick. He gave his bullet-making plans to Rick. He gave his final goodbyes to Abraham, sharing a heartfelt hug with him. He sat in the RV, smiling, really proud of himself and really proud of his actions. If I didn't know any better, I would have said that episode was gonna kill him off right then and there. Now Daryl, he didn't get quite as much direct foreshadowing, but he's been a target just because of fans are waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak. You can also make a case that he's been acting really untrusting lately, not thinking clearly, coming from a place of really strong emotion and making hasty choices. But what if all of these are wrong? What if the writers set all of these characters up on purpose so that we wouldn't know who the real victim was? I mean, it's not gonna be all of them, so some of these setups were obviously done to mislead us. But what if they all were? Reason 3. Now this just may be my opinion, but I think the actor Chandler Riggs is simply growing too fast for the show. What are we gonna have, a 21-year-old man playing a 14-year-old boy in a season or two? I may be exaggerating a bit, but the point still stands. In the comic, Carl can stay as young as the writers want him to for as long as they want him to. They have all the time in the world to flesh out these intriguing storylines with him and Negan or him and his father, and they never have to worry about him growing any older than they want him to. At this point in the show, I think they've gotten away with it good enough, but it's pretty obvious that a lot of people are starting to notice and they're making a few jokes about it, like how he's grown up 5 or 6 years in the time that the show's only passed for 2 years. I mean, you can only do this for so long. Anyways, the way I see it, they've only got a few choices they can take. so they can ignore it and just keep going and hope for the best. And this is possible, but the internet jokes are going to get completely ridiculous. And like I said, we're going to have a 21-year-old man playing a 15-year-old boy. It may happen, and they may get away with it, but if they choose to go this route, they can't undo any of it. Once it's committed to film, it's just going to look kind of ridiculous. They can't Control Z this one. Another option is they can take a massive time jump to get him caught up. But this seems a little unlikely because the story would suffer at such a critical time. And come on, let's face it, the skin is already falling off of these zombies. If you jump ahead 2 or 3 years, they're going to be walking skeletons by that time. I mean, the zombies decay worse and worse and worse every single year that the show is on, so you can't go too far ahead. Some people think that that's why season 6 only passes, or at least the first half, only passes in one day. They're trying to shorten time. They don't want these big time jumps in there right now, I don't think. And then there's one final option. The final option is they could just, write him out of the show. Kill him off. If they do that, then all of these problems just go away. And it would have the extra benefit or bonus of being incredibly impactful at this moment. It would completely break Rick and the entire group, and it would really set up Negan to be a bad guy. So I think this is the direction that they might be leaning right now. Reason 4. Alright, let's look a little bit more closely at the episode itself now. So up to this point, my reasoning has been things that people said in real life or techniques that writers use to mislead us. But let's look into the actual episode itself. Now, when Negan says, "Don't anyone move, or take the boy's other eye out, feed it to his father, and then we'll start," I believe he was standing directly in front of Carl when he spoke those words. Now, some people say that this is proof that Carl was not the chosen one, like he was further down the line and he was just being referenced, but I think it makes much more sense if it was about Carl and Negan was standing directly in front of him. I mean, most of the adults, especially Rick, would jump up and say, take me, don't hurt the boy." Most of the group would try and take his place to protect him. Therefore, the threat that Negan says is necessary. "Don't anyone move, or we'll take out the boy's other eye and feed it to his father, and then we'll start." He means if anyone tries to volunteer themselves and take his place, Negan will rip out Carl's other eye, leaving him blind, feed it to Rick, and then go back and resume with batting practice. So when I first watched this episode, I automatically thought that it was Carl who was getting the bat. There was just no question in my mind. Before I even realized it was a cliffhanger, I thought Carl was getting clobbered, and it makes sense. I don't think this phrase would have needed to be said if a tougher cast member was facing the bat. I mean, come on, who's gonna jump out of line to try and save Abraham or Daryl? They are the tough guys. They are the ones who save other characters, like the females and the kids. So I think the statement applies here because he doesn't want anyone acting like a hero and trying to save Carl. Also, taking it like a champ, that really fits if it refers to Carl. Not only not going down when he first gets hit by the bat, but standing back up and showing his strength in such a visceral moment. So yeah, I think that line of dialogue is spoken and fits best when it applies to Carl. And finally, reason number 5. These points here are just little points that were made in other videos, and I'm including them here because I think it still kind of fits. So first we have the shadow on Rick's face. Now, just before the first person camera is selected, we see a shadow move across Rick's face, indicating that Negan is stepping off to Rick's right-hand side. This would put Sasha, Aaron, Carl, and Eugene in his line of fire. And as I've pretty much already stated, Aaron and Sasha aren't really big enough to take this kill. Well, neither is Eugene, but Eugene has also kind of been taken out because he was part of the misleading setup of characters. And so that really only leaves Carl, one of the original cast members, and one that would fit the bill perfectly. Also, less evidence and more speculation, but still kind of a little fun, is in one shot it looks kind of like Carl's hat is casting a shadow on Negan's chest, as if he were kneeling down directly in front of him about to get clubbed. Also, look at Wade here. This is kind of interesting. First he looks at the stolen gun that Carl has, then he sees the carving of Lucille on it. He looks at Carl, he kind of thumps his hat, and then he says,
"That's yours, right?" "Yeah, it's yours."
Yeah, I don't know, but it's kind of interesting. Not saying anything directly here, but maybe a subtle hint or a subtle clue perhaps. Anyway, it's fun discussing it. It's something to think about, something to keep us busy, something to talk about, and mull it over. Thanks for watching. If you have anything you want to say or any comment or any way to contribute, post below. That'd be awesome. I love it. Until next time,